live.
Good morning.
Text-based roleplay games.
Good evening. Sorry,
part of.
I could just
Definitely
barely hear you saying good morning.
It took so long that we skipped afternoon. And good night. That's us. Hello.
Show.
Welcome to Ben and Declan On A Roll, your daily morning show that at this rate happens about once a month, maybe.
Excuse you. No. Last time around, we all had legitimate reasons.
We did.
It was too fucking hot, and
So
my house was full of plumbers, but not the. Jesus, I literally.
you said it.
Just.
What am I going to do with all these plumbers?
Ben, you broke me. I don't know what to say.
We've also been hanging out. Myself and Declan have been in each other's company in the last 7 days, 60% of the time, if we kind of give or take. Declan came over for a sleepover on Thursday. For any freaks out there, he slept in that bed. Do it that way, Will.
And I can sell this pillowcase.
yeah. I haven't changed the sheets. I'll sell them. Do you want Ben and Declan on our own merch? I'll sell you the sheets. What is this energy? I don't know what I'm bringing to the show.
I am alarmed. Zula is asking, is the stream stuttering for anyone else? Is it the audio that's stuttering, Zul, or like the cam stuff? Because I have, I don't have it open, but I will on my. Hang on, I'm gonna mute myself. Yeah, no, I did a quick.
No, might just be Zul.
Seems okay.
As dreads come through. Am I end?
Because to be fair, like 90% of the technical issues we have on this are usually my fault. You were actually meant to say something nice there, but you just
that's because I would say 100% of the tech issues are usually your fault because I do 0% of the tech. It's not that it's because of something that you've done. It's that I'm lazy and
don't do any work.
yeah. I just turn up because I'm terrified of producing streams. I've done it once or twice and I dislike it. It gives me the ibbies.
It's just when it goes wrong, it's like it's so frightening when it goes wrong. Like, and I've worked in live television, and it's that same fear of everything needs to be perfect. Obviously, we're not pulling in. Are we pulling in hundreds of thousands of viewers?
Hundreds of thousands, up to hundreds of thousands,
up to hundreds of thousands of viewers,
up to hundreds of thousands of viewers. But let us know if it is fixed on your end, Zul. I don't know if we can help from here, but the VOD will be up in
I'll monitor
2 to 3 years. That's the 10% I mess up.
I'll monitor my kind of my CPU. I'm saying things here. I don't know what these mean. I'll just monitor things. That's what I'll do. I'll monitor them, and sometimes this goes yellow and sometimes it goes red, and it's still green. So green is good. Yeah,
green is good. I think we're all still looking better now as well. So
okay,
I'd say. Cool. Is it time to explain the show? I mean, maybe 3 minutes ago was the time for that, but we were having fun and catching up and doing all our bits. Tonight's episode, we're talking about TTRPGs without the TT. What does that mean? Well, what it means is every once in a while, Declan runs a play-by-post RPG in the D8 Discord, which is a type of RPG without the TT. We both realized that our early beginnings in RPGs were not a TT. And no, I'll never stop. Can't stop me. Won't stop, can't stop. And then we were chatting because we drove across the country and back about what is it that makes a game like a role play game? Because I have a terrible habit of bringing role play to any game I play. If we're playing Monopoly, I'm going to take on a character.
I'm a capitalist monster.
I'm a capitalist. Staying in my hotel, are you? Well, money, please. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of tonight's show. There'll probably be a bit of housekeeping. D8 Dungeon Drive's coming up. We'll tell you a little bit about that. Is there anything else on our end? Oh, yes. From a Ben and Declan On A Roll YouTube side of things, I've started uploading just the interviews. So if you're looking for just the interviews, they're beginning to upload over on the Homebrew YouTube channel. If yours isn't there, get in touch. And that's how I'll catch you if you don't watch every episode live. I'll know. No, but I'm slowly working my way through it because, as aforementioned, Declan does all the heavy lifting, and I'm just here to cause chaos and keep him company.
And say the word TT.
And say DT, TTT. I'm going to have a sip of my tea.
Okay, you have a sip of that. I'm going to mention our prompt this evening, our question to the chat to everybody out there. Ben mentioned kind of we both had a very similar kind of first kind of foot into the world of role-playing games. But actually, I think mine goes a little further, because I was thinking about it, mine goes a little further back. So our question to everybody tonight, and if you're watching afterwards, is you can leave it in the comments. What was your first kind of foray into the world of role-playing games? So you'll notice that we've left out the
TT.
Jesus Christ. There's something League of Gentlemen about it when you do it, and I just can't handle it.
That's fair. It might be the glasses.
It's the glasses, and it was just the grin as well. It was, but Ben mentioned that I occasionally run play-by-post games, and I have been doing those for a very, very long time. My recent sort of exploration of the game came about actually 5 years ago, during kind of the pandemic, and it was a thing of we're all sitting around, we're all working from home, we're all kind of looking for stuff to do, or whatever it might be. What can I do to kind of like entertain people, or give people a thing to do? And I was like, oh, actually, I could run one of these murder mysteries. This is like a lot of fun. There's role playing in it. It doesn't require anybody to be on camera, or because we were all working from home, we were all kind of like on cams and microphones. This was just type and play. And I just started running them, and then we ran one, and there was 9 of us, I think, and then I ran another one, and then there was 14 of us, and then I ran another one, and there was 22 people. And it kind of just went, and then other people started running their own games of this as well. And I've always kind of like in every kind of hobby, there's always this sort of like, well, that's not really tabletop role playing. That's not really role playing, because you're not acting, you're not improvising. And I'm like, well, actually, you are acting and you are improvising in those spaces. But to kind of to give you my villain origin story, again, I would say my first real consideration of a role-playing game, Azul 22 was nuts. So I started having people get murdered in batches. Like I was saying, you can kill 2 people tonight. You can kill 3 people tonight. I am exhausted typing up this narrative. Start murdering, please.
This person died in a very gruesome, descriptive, and beautiful way, and those 2 people are dead too.
Yeah. There was 1 or 2 nights where here's this haunting memory of this character. Oh, and also Jimmy and Caroline, they're dead as well. But this was my foray, like play by posting on forums. Back in the early 2000s. I started role playing in a Buffy the Vampire Slayer like kind of fan forum type thing. We were all students in Sunnydale. Nobody was allowed to be like, no one was the Slayer, nobody was like part of the Scooby Gang or any of that kind of stuff. You were playing kind of like other teenagers in the high school trying to survive, and then like occasionally dealing with like an encounter, and how does that work out, and what's everybody. So, but like I was saying, when I thought about it, I've actually been playing role-playing games for an awful lot longer. Like, I just didn't realize it until we started thinking about this.
So we started saying, how do we define the exact thing that this is? Yeah. Should we dive straight in there and maybe come back to the play-by-post? Because we've asked some of your players to share their experience. Actually, let's jump into chat. So for Zool, Middle-earth role-playing game with their oldest brother and roommate, now their brother-in-law, and their sister played too. That's really nice. That's similar to this is where I actually would draw the line between roleplay and not roleplay for me, because my first like dipping the toe into knowing I like this kind of game was playing Hero Quest with my brothers, but I wouldn't call Hero Quest, despite having everything it needs, a role-playing game, because it was more like, well, I move the barbarian or I move the wizard. It wasn't like I was embodying the wizard. I was just picking up stuff, and like there was sort of a passiveness to it. Even though there's quests, and even though you could play it like a role-playing game, as kids, we didn't. It was just, it might as well have been dog and hat Monopoly. It was just like, we move them, we roll the dice, we do this. It was very tactical, which brings up an interesting thing, because for crunchy battle combat games, still TTRPGs, like there's a lot of games where you don't put on a voice, you don't kind of embody a character. So all to say, I don't think there's a right answer to the question we're posing to people tonight, but it's just an interesting discussion to kind of figure out personally, what is it about role-playing games and where you would put the role play in. And then a couple of friends of Zool's met in Wheel of Time Muds, or MUDS. Don't know if it's an acronym you say or spell. And for Dreaded DM video games. But one of the ones where a classic player 2 household, the siblings playing, and you're kind of watching along in Sidekick. A lot of Assassin's Creed, a lot of Star Wars, that's kind of I feel for a lot of people it's video games. And actually I'd be interested these days. I'd say a lot of people's first foray onto role-playing games wasn't like a gateway thing. It was literal role-playing games over the pandemic, watching your Critical Roles, your Adventure Times, your Dimension 20s, etc., finding a way in directly to the source and then jumping in.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, I think because we're a little bit grayer around the years, the chance to play wasn't necessarily always there as kids, but the awareness of it in our kind of lifestyles was.
I think so. I'd kind of echo Dread in that same way, but like, okay, I was the older brother in that scenario, but I had a younger brother both of us were very into video games, and I'll never forget there was a game. I think it was just called Champions. It's on the PlayStation 2, and again, it's your typical sort of dungeon crawl. There's up to 4 people can play. There's like a wizard, there's a priestess, there's a barbarian, there's a fighter, and like we'd start off and I'm like, okay, so we're in the starting area. Declan, what are you playing? Okay, I'm going to play the sorceress. Okay, Maddie, what are you playing? Well, look, I'll play the paladin then. All right, great. Okay. Oh man, Maddie's character's doing really cool things. I can't do any of those things with my crappy character. I don't like this. Okay, I need us to restart the game because I don't like my character anymore, and I want us to restart this game. So I think we did that about 8 or 9 times before eventually, fuck off, I'm not playing this game with you anymore.
This is not only your TTRPG origin story, but also your all video games origin. Declan is notorious for like getting a little bit in and be like, we're just going to start this over again.
Can we just start again? Can we just that one thing that has no consequence on the actual storyline is really upsetting me. I want to go back.
Plenty of time to fix it, but I won't in this run through. But I think that's a lesson learned from like JTTRPGs. I don't really play a lot of JTTRPGs because I dislike you're 70,000 hours in, and it's like, oh, you didn't pick up the orb from hour 2. I'm like, how was I meant to know to pick up it's all gone, it's all wasted. There's no way to beat this except for like just grind at this point. So
Declan's a safe scrummer. Yes, I am, and I'll proudly wear that badge. I often, so like if we're talking about that kind of early foray into it, like Dread though, in the coming up with ideas, making characters, watching someone play and making characters, I often found myself, particularly kind of as kind of would say games and consoles developed, a little bit different, like on the Super Nintendo where you're playing your Castlevania, where it was a very sort of linear and there was no choice, there was no character creation. It was, you could be the girl who kicks or the man who punches, and I'm going to be the girl who kicks, thank you, get out of the way. And that was it. That was kind of it. And now just go jump over the obstacles and kick the things. Got it. With like the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, where games started to give you that sort of, now create this character. Now you are being you in this world. That's where I kind of started to really kind of get that sense of, actually, I'm playing a version of myself. I'm playing like a
Yes.
part of myself that wants to do these things. I also will flip that though, because I am a huge JRPG fan. Like
Hmm.
like the Tales of series, Final Fantasy, oh god, the Melodia, fantastic. Like there's a load of I loved all those as well as a kid. And I would get very into the story. I think that's why I'm so story driven as a DM. Is that like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, and they're big emotional games. It's never just go there and fight the ultimate bad guy. It was actually that ultimate bad guy is your alternate self from the past, where your father was a robot, and you're like, oh my god, the emotional weight of that is intense. um, um, but yeah, I that's kind of where I really started to kind of dip into this. I think as a hobby.
Like it's a good. I'm trying to think what my next step was. So for years, I played on play by post forums between like young, like between the ages of like 12 and maybe 16. I call them my. I didn't have a lot of friends in real life years, but I had loads of friends online, and I used to play on a site called avidgamers.com where you were allowed to create your own forums. So there was everything from. I played in an X-Men one, and you were a student at Big Xavier School. A friend of mine had come up with one called Omega City, and it was what's the best way to put it? I thought it was a little bit like Outlaw Star, that anime,
Okay.
where there was like, I think if I remember Outlaw Star correctly, it's like slightly cyberpunk, it's slightly space based. It's
Mhm.
like, space travel exists, but everyone's in this one city, and there was factions, and people could be in guilds and all those kind of things. People got pretty complicated. I played in the Dragon Ball Z one where literal power levels and literal spells, and you would like do your moves, not spells, like I suppose
Abilities or
just
whatever.
like abilities and stuff, and you could level up your character, which was fascinating. And then some that was just like, we're kids in Malibu, and I was just, and on the whole, quite sweet. I think I had the naivety of being a kid. So like a lot of these, as they went to like romantic places, like, oh wow, my character's like really getting to know this character, and we're sort of just like becoming boyfriend girlfriend in these posts. It's like perfect for like a little nerdy boy like me being like, I'm dating.
Yeah.
And I thought no further more about it, and nor shall I ever think about it, because as far as I'm aware, that was Tiffany, and they were also 15 years old.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes that hits and you're like, oh.
but ultimately, like, never went. It was never like
Yeah.
DMs. I never
Yeah.
got DMs, and so it's like, for the purpose of the game, perfectly fine. I think. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other ones. Then Avid Gamer shut down, and Avid Gamers 2 opened, and it was just different enough to not for me to be like, no, I think I'll go back to my Homestar Runner videos and chill at the internet this way. But I must have had like 10 or 20 going at once, and
Okay.
I'd like flip between them all and sit on the internet for hours replying to every post, and all the like forum-based places, a lot like the Discord ones, except that the murder and the mystery. It was like the mall, the school, the library, and you couldn't be in more than one place at once. You'd have to like leave a scene to go to another thing. Often you would start like setting a scene, and then other characters would come in to like play as well.
Okay.
And I think it's where my love of like writing little paragraphs, like it's one-to-one writing the opening of any scene in Dungeons and Dragons or any tabletop role-playing game, where you go like you set the scene first and then you bring the characters into it. And probably where my love of like theater was led to foster, because I didn't have a lot of theater programs nearby, but I could like set the scene, put the characters in, set the vibe and the atmosphere, and then let the scene play out. So I'd have to say like that for me was where I fully felt like I was playing a character with like values and attributes and opinions and personalities outside of something like Hero Quest, which is way more like D&D coded,
Mm.
and like being some cool like skater kids in like a West Coast city in America is like nothing to do with it, but it opened my eyes to, and I still feel this way, that TTRPGs don't have to be fantasy. They can be kind of
Yeah.
anything, and you can play absolutely anything, and they don't even have to be like, as long as there's conflict, whether that's, world-ending conflict, or you're a kid just trying to get by with a part-time job or whatever, anything. It could be like office drama. That's fine, as long as there's conflict there. The only difference, though, and I wonder if this is something that's integral to it, my answer is no. No dice in play-by-post. So you're not leaving anything to chance. There's like a moderator. So the moderator kind of is allowed to shape, but there's no random fork in the story.
Yeah.
And what do you think that's integral to a TTRPG?
No, because I think you can play TTRPGs without them as well. Like,
Mm.
because I was recording on Tuesday night with Dread and Dylan from Hearthfire Tales, a good friend of ours, Nunu, and Apollo as well. We were recording a Romance in the Dungeon secret adventure thing, and it kind of dawned on us very, very quickly that we don't roll dice. We haven't rolled dice at all. It's just you do the thing happens. You spend a resource, it's done. And there was a lot of the time, because I made the comment afterwards and I was reflecting on it. A lot of the time in like my games, the dice don't really come into it until combat. Like, I mean, yeah, there's skill checks and there's saving throws occasionally, but like so much of what I like about this hobby is the role playing part, the actual getting into the character mindset, being that person, being in that space, handling that conflict, whatever that conflict is, but actually kind of getting through it. There's been a couple of things in chat that I want to kind of go back over. There was a debate about rugby. I got confused. I ignored that part. But Dread had said, I wish it had occurred to me to find friends online as a kid. Was too scared of the internet in general. That's completely and totally plausible. I'm from the days of IOL and installing the internet on your PC with a CD that you got from a free newspaper. And my parents come in and go, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm on the internet talking to my girlfriend at the time." And it's an actual girlfriend. We met in a chat room. Sorry, that wasn't a pop at you, my friend. Or was it? But and then my parents been like, Jesus, like, would you get off the internet? I need the phone. And you're like, oh, right, okay, I have to hang up on my internet girlfriend now. So, and we were playing in like Second Life. You wouldn't know her; she went to a different school. Wow. Well, actually, she was from Scotland, and I won't dox her, even though I don't know if she's a real person or not.
Well. I can't do a Scottish accent, but if I could, "Aye, boy, I have a surprise for you now."
Oh, goody!
It's me. It was me all along.
But yeah, I can totally understand that, because I come from the generation of where like, oh, it's fine, it's just the internet, it's fine. There's no, my parents not understanding it, and they're not really being that sort of awareness of just how open and how anonymous that space is. I think those rules changed very, very quickly. But I'm from that point where it was like, just let them off. Again, I did not have a lot of friends in real life. You'll hear me reference my younger brother Maddie a lot, particularly in this, because we played video games together, and always, like, I remember there's a game on the Nintendo 64. I keep going to call it Jet Set Radio, but it's not Jet Set Radio. That's the skateboarding spray painting, but it's like Jet something. You were brother and sister, and there was a Robo Dog.
Oh yeah,
gone from my brain. But like, he would always pick the brother, I would always play the sister, and again, there would never sort of gravitated, never coming into our mindset. Declan plays a lot of the girl characters. Declan plays a lot of the other characters. My brother Maddie's also gay as well, so it's just he got forced.
He's like, damn it! Why am I stuck being the boy?
Okay, I'll play the dog. Nobody wants to be the boy, but like, it went so far, like those love of games, and like even like big shows at the time. You mentioned Dragon Ball Z. We were completely and totally obsessed with Pokemon, and like, I made a Pokemon board game where you played a Pokemon trainer, and you went, like, you roll dice and you would have encounters and stuff like that. But the whole point of it was you were playing the trainer, and your Pokemon could like you or not like you. It was very inspired by Pokemon Yellow and the Pikachu thing.
Yes.
It was just, yeah, it was. I think all those things now, looking back on it, are role playing. Like, it's that it doesn't have to be this sit down and here's my character sheet and here's the 7 dice that I need to play this game. It can just be a play by post, and the hey, this is my character. Do I have any role in this game? No. Okay, I'm just playing a survivor. Great. Well, that's my role. So I need to survive this thing. I hope I don't get killed by the killer in the because my play by post games are very werewolf adjacent. If anyone's not familiar, werewolf is a card game.
Sort of
Board.
social
It's
deduction
social
game,
deduction.
maybe?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's cards in it. But yeah, it's a social deduction game. Where again, one or two people at the table, depending on the number of people, are playing werewolves. Everybody else is trying to survive, and you have to catch the werewolves before the werewolves kill everybody. I then kind of like took those rules and started playing them with friends through play by post games where it's not just who. So let's sit around and point the finger. It was actually let's play characters. You're all in a hotel. The hotel has been cut off from the town below because there's been an avalanche. There's no phones. There's no nothing. Food's going to run out. And now someone amongst you is actually killing each of you one by one. You have to figure out who this is, or you're all going to die. And hopefully Alisaris is still. And yes, sometimes they get very sexy depending on what deviants are in the game. One of the deviants has just popped up. But I'd love Alisaris, actually, if you'd let us know kind of what it is about those play-by-post games, because you've played in all of mine, which makes it sound like I'm holding a gun to your head, but you've literally played in all of them. Like you've never not played in one of those games. Like what is it about those that you like? What is it about those things that and not necessarily, well, it's because Declan, I'm not looking for a compliment, just what's your draw to play-by-post games? And then you played in one of mine, didn't you?
I played in one and never played again because I was the killer and it terrified me to lie to. I got so ridden with anxiety that I was gaslighting everyone that I was like, no, it couldn't possibly. Which I know is totally part of the game. I understand it. Like if I was playing. One game I really want to play before the year is out is Blood in the Clock Tower. I haven't had a chance to play it, but it is a social deduction game. It's very werewolfy. There is like demons or devils and like sidekicks on the bad team, and then good people and different roles. And there's enough combination of things. So you could be the seer, but actually you're the drunk. So all the information you're getting as the seer is wrong. Or you could be, the washerwoman, but you've been poisoned by one of the characters. So there's ways for it not to be right. On my trip to and from Japan this year, I just watched so much of it on the internet that I was like, I need to play this. So it's not that I'm against like a lying role. I think it was the lying over like a game of werewolf lasts like a couple of hours. Blood in the Clock Tower, same. This extended over days, just been like, oh God, I haven't been caught yet. Oh Jesus Christ, they're coming after me. They're closing in. And it's intensive because you sort of feel like if I don't reply, they'll know. So I was glued to my phone in a way that like I'd be out with my partner and she's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm fighting for my life over here. You don't know what I'm going through. And I think I'd be happy out if I knew, if it was a whole weekend in person, if it was a LARP, I'd be like, sign me up. Because I know I'm there to do it. But when I'm at work, I get very... it's a sign of something and I don't know what it is, if it's like a hyper fixation, but if I'm in the middle of something, I'm super concentrating on it and someone interrupts me, I'm so snappy. I'm like, what? Get out of here. Or I'll be really short and like, so I'm basically that for anyone in my life who isn't in the game for those games. So for personal reasons, I took a step back, but I can see the appeal.
No, I think I definitely think you've hit the nail on the head for like the tougher part of those types of games, like because I mean, like I would have players go, my partner is really mad, like because I'm just addicted to I'm on my phone and I was like, my husband's really mad because I've just spent the last 6 hours typing up like really explicit details about like a murder that is fictional and not paying any attention to the world around me. And it is but I think you've hit you've struck on something that I think is one of the best things about them is they are so incredibly immersive.
Yeah.
In a way, I think that sometimes tabletop role-playing games aren't, because I think for a lot of people, and again, I want to read kind of what Alisaris has just said. I think a lot of people are anxious to role-play in front of other people.
Yeah.
It's like going to an event and it's like the guys go, like, we're going to do icebreakers. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. not
Yeah.
icebreakers. And I love an icebreaker. I'm not like, yay, let's do something fun. But you can literally see the rest of the room kind of just like tensing up with, oh God, I don't want to have to talk. I don't have to
Yeah.
come up with something funny. I don't have to say anything. And I think that can that energy can be there, particularly in the first kind of session or two when people are trying to find their feet, especially newcomers, but even new groups where it's like, oh well, you and you know each other, you're new, the DM's new, so where are our thresholds? Let's figure each other out. So I think there can be this level of anxiety in the tabletop thing that you don't get in a play by post, because you have that wonderful sort of barrier of, well, this computer screen, and I can kind of relax into this role. You know, I can play it meaner, I can play it funnier, I can play it sillier than I could if I was in the room with everybody. Alex Iris has said it's much easier for me personally to role play through text for some reason. As much as I adore real RPGs, I think I'm more confident in my characters' personalities when it's through text. Plus, I have more time to think about reactions, unless I'm being accused of murder while I'm grocery shopping in real life.
It happened.
It happens. But yeah, see, there is that element to it as well. That, you know, there's the immediacy of a tabletop role-playing game. There's that sort of, oh God, the person across from me has just said something really bold and daring, and it was very emotional, and there's a lot of weight to it. I now need to, in real time, respond with something that matches that level, and it can't just be fart, like, you know, because it's not like, how do I match that? Whereas with a play by post, you can think about it, you can reflect it, you can find the words. It's easier, I think, to figure that out than not. So to speak to sort of that anxiety, though, because I think that has you've mentioned it. The DM has said, I love the idea of play by post, but I would get anxious about how long it's taking me to write a response. Again, in a lot of my games, I can't speak to everybody else's. In a lot of my games, I put on cooldown times. So you type a message, you can't actually reply for 5 minutes, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, but in the game, it can be quite a lot of time. And I think for people, there is an anxiety, and that can be really fun. You know, people kind of, oh God, who's going to die tonight? And I would have players messaging me going, I'm actually going to get sick. I'm so tense from this game. And I'm like, cool. Great. I'm wonderful. Again, I'm not with you, so I can't do a real check-in, but go outside or get some fucking water or drink something. Like, this isn't a Declan has made me cry twice on public. You need to please rationalize that to the gym, because that makes it sound like I beat you up on public transport. Just
Nah, leave it as it is.
Please don't.
Those who know. Those who don't, let them imagine.
I'm notorious for being...
Yeah. Oh no, it's another one of these Declan buses. Get them, boys. Like the snail that slowly chases you through life.
It's just me, just outside the bus waving. But yeah, no, I think they can be incredibly powerful and incredibly intense in a way that I don't think people would suspect.
No.
Because it's like, oh, it's just writing. Like, you're just writing.
Although, not surprising, if, like, when you sit down to think about it, you know, when you're reading a book and you get so into it, and it's like, I think I saw some meme online a while ago, which was like, books are crazy. It's like a tree has been cut down, ink's been put on it, and it causes hallucinations in your mind. But like, when you're so into something and someone kind of snaps you out of it, it does feel like I was in that world. Like, I was in a different space. And I think there's something really nice about these games where, to Eilidh Iris's point, it's a little bit easier to role play them and kind of feel in the character, because it's almost like I can be fully in it. There's no Ben in the way, because it's, you know, I'm not in front of people. There's no like feeling of the environment and emotion in the room. Like, I'm a devil for something serious, and the pressure gets to me and I crack a joke. I can't just, like, one thing I'm working on in my role play to kind of round it out is just sit and get better at honestly reacting. And even at that honest reaction, I think I did it on a recent romancing, which was like, the spotlight's kind of moving around the table, and it comes over to AJ, and I was just like, he's just kind of speechless. And there was no like performance in my read of it, but I'm hoping that on audio, it's just kind of like, yeah, this is Ben peeking above the table, just like, we got a little AJ over here, like he's catatonic, like that's. So I can't even role play because he's not giving me. He's shut down on me, the player, which I don't think is even like. Every once in a while, I'll say things like that, and half the people I'm talking to in the kind of TTRPG community will be like, "Yes, I also think of my player as like a little guy inside me," and then other people are like, "What? You've fragmented and like segmented and compartmentalized your characters?" I'm like, "Yeah, they all exist," and like. A little bit like Pokemon, and a little like character orbs that I like throw them out on the table when they come to the fore. Which I'm sure there's probably some very pompous French acting technique called like summon the character.
It's actually Le Pokemon.
Yeah. I see you studied in Le Pokemon Conservatoire.
So I do that with a lot of my characters as well. And this is there's a wonderful benefit to that. And Ben, I think you maybe need to speak to a professional. Yeah, he is. True. He's talking to me right now.
Yeah. What do you think this is?
Ben, keep doing it, because I do it as well, and it's perfectly fine. No,
it's perfectly normal.
I also kind of like compartmentalize a lot of my characters in that, so that like when I need them to come out, it's that thing. Oh, that's who that is. That's where they are, and we go. But one of the things I find with that method, and this happens in play by post games, which I do think is both surprising and not surprising in a weird sort of, that's totally contradictory. It's very difficult sometimes for me when I'm playing a character, especially villain characters, and people start saying really hurtful things or true things, or and this happened in the case of the first season of Romancing the Dungeon with Morag, who's a night hag, and she ends up trapping the party in like a dream realm, and whatever night hags tend to do in that space. And there's an encounter with her, and there's a fight, and she just pulls on these, like, it was vicious things, and it was all great role play, and we all, we talked about it in advance, but I got so upset with myself that came so quickly, like that ability to cut people down and just say things to get to the heart of the matter. And I was playing a character, and I was saying those things to other characters. I wasn't saying those things to my friends around the table, the gang around the table, the cast. I was just saying it to other characters. But I still found, hang on a second, she's a part of my personality. Like I've put so much of myself into her. That actually happens with play-by-post games as well. And sometimes when people get accused of being the killer, some people kind of laugh and go, "Oh my god, that's hilarious." I'm not, but that's hilarious. But other people get really upset because they've been trying to play earnestly. They've been trying to play because they're just a survivor. They could be a potential victim. But they're like, I'm just playing this character, and like I'm just trying to be nice. I'm trying to be helpful, but everyone thinks I'm the killer now because that's just the way the mob has turned. And they're kind of surprised at how emotional they get with that accusation in a game where they're just playing a character. And it's a thing, well, no, it's because you're in that headspace. You're playing a version of yourself. That version of yourself might be, a dame who's inherited her wealth from her dead husband and is now, looking to set up a small little boutique or whatever in this town, and she's trapped in the hotel. It doesn't matter. There's a little part of you that's like invested in her, or you've put a little bit of yourself into her. And then the part that I find I don't think people realize is, and it's because I'm a devil for it, misreading the tone of a message as well.
Yeah,
like that's where the in-person role play and the message on a board, because you're only inferring tone. And like we don't put in, bracket joy bracket, end bracket. We don't do that. You're trying to write, and you're hoping it comes across as sarcastic or joyful or anxious or whatever, and that people read into the character. So sometimes it hasn't happened all the time, but it has happened enough that I feel like I can comment on it. I would have people message me kind of saying, "Hey, I actually don't like the way this person's writing about me.
Mm.
I feel like I'm getting kind of attacked. I feel like me and my character are being attacked, and not because we're being accused to be the killer. Just I think it's just too aggressive." And then it's okay. Well, look, let me go back to the player and just see what the crack is, maybe. And it's like, oh, actually, I can see why they would think that, but no, I didn't intend that. And it's like, okay, look, I'm happy to go back because we don't usually have editing in these games. We're like, I'll
Yeah.
go back and I'll edit it just to take the what could be perceived as the sting out of that message. But they're like, just let them know that it wasn't my intention. And I'm like, that's totally fine. But you're going to infer, you're going to feel, and that's valid. And you
That's
don't get that.
That's what chat is. So Dreaded DM brought up that there's the article about TTRPGs. I think there's been a bunch of studies about this as well. That can be applied to any RPG, really. Anything where you put put a bit of yourself into something. It's true of acting as well. Where it said that emotions don't distinguish between real and imagined events.
Mhm.
The events technically happened, whether they were real or not, because on the emotional level they happened. And it's one of the things that I always chalk up to. Calling it fast friend syndrome is the wrong way to put it. I don't know the actual term because syndrome's the wrong term, but like fast friends, the fast friends phenomenon around TTRPGs, where it's like, I've kind of only been playing with these guys for like 3 weekends, but I feel like I've known them my entire life. It's like, because your character has. Because like in 3 weekends, you've gone through maybe 3 weeks of events with them. Because time is a funny little feeling. And so like D&D groups forge these really big friendships. Because when you're out for like someone's birthday, it's like, that's the person who saved my life from a dragon over there. And that's how you felt at the time. I think it's also why you get like a lot of strong hurt and feelings when something doesn't go right in a normal friend group. There can be disagreements, people can kind of get on, they can kind of come and go, but like when there's a disagreement in a TTRPG group, it's kind of cataclysmic at times. It can be like, how dare, because you're not only is it the person, but it's the player. It's the character and the player and all the times you spent together, etc., etc. So like, no wonder like forum sites and like advice sites is filled with like, my best friend of 17 years just did this thing, and then like they're underneath, it's like, did they do it or did their character do it? It's like, it doesn't matter. It's like, I mean, it's hard to distinguish. It sort of does matter, but it is hard to distinguish. And I think that's a really good. I wouldn't put it down as our definition of like what is role play. This sense of like, I don't think you need to have that attachment. I don't think you need to feel that. It's a little bit like that that acting quote. Is it Laurence Olivier or someone's that kind of thing where they just go, "Have you tried acting, boy?" About like not putting yourself into it. It's a takedown on like the method, and method acting. But yeah, I think that's where it begins to blur the lines. I realized during this conversation that while I was living in Canada the very first time, another period in my life where I knew no one in the city I was living in, I would count this as roleplay, even though it technically isn't, and it's weird that it counts, but I would count it. I started writing people letters, like handwritten letters, back home. But I didn't write them as me. I wrote them as if I was someone from like the 1800s living in Toronto, like inviting myself over to summer. It was like from the Marquess of Toronto. And it's like, looking forward to seeing you at the summer ball. And my weird little hope is that some like archaeologist finds this letter in like years to come. It's like, who's this guy? It seems legit. Like,
why was he not in the asylum?
yeah, exactly. But like proper like wax seals, like it's part of my love of letter writing is a sense of like, there's a little bit of role play in that. It's like, it's me as if I wrote letters because I write letters. But there's a different like there's a sort of like odder version of Ben in that. And people who got them aren't role players, but they're like, I loved getting your sort of like themed letter. I'm like, and I never really thought about it until now. I'm like, that was technically me just so thirsty for role play that I was like, all right, letters to friends. And like some are like calling them out for jewels. Some of them are like
Your
setting
cousin
up
Constance
like,
has the consumption.
yeah, setting up like imaginary kids that we don't have for like the betterment of our dynasties. Like it was very what is that area? I don't know enough about this era of history, the kind of Pride and Prejudice sort of time, Bridgerton, etc. I don't think I've even Regency. Was that what it's called? Very Regency.
Is it often referred to as the Edwardian period?
It might be, or it's not Elizabethan. Yes, Syl does have a note with a wax seal. I just love writing letters. They're just fun. And I'd do it every week if I could. I mean, I can. There's nothing stopping me. I used to write letters to myself. That's how lonely it was. Dear Ben. But you do what you can to survive.
Just leave that linger. No, I kind of want one of those letters. I want one of those because again, I have a weird love affair with the Regency era.
Mm-hmm.
Again, English lit nerd, and then the Victorian, and then the Edwardian. Like I don't know what it is. I love this time span of like late 19th century, late 18th, early 19th kind of century vibes. I love that stuff. And I also love letter writing. I had growing up. I had several I had friends. I had pen pals. One of them was in Canada. Was it you? Or were you my pen pal in Canada?
It wasn't me this time. It was over there as an adult.
It was your cousin Constance.
And she died of consumption.
Oh my god.
Consuming too much food. I assume that's what that means.
But I did. I had a pen pal in Italy, and I had a pen pal in Canada, and and it wasn't email. It became email eventually, and myself and the girl in Italy drifted apart. It just didn't pan out. We got bored, I'd say. But myself and the guy in Canada are still in touch. A whole Jesus, close to nearly 30 years.
Wow, that's very impressive.
And like, it's not like we text each other every day, but it will be that thing of like, I haven't heard from him in months, and then a message will pop up, and I'm like, hey, Will, how are you getting on? He's like, I'm married now to another man, because Will also. It was just, it was weird, and like, anyway, sorry.
No, that's good. But I suppose in that case, you weren't role playing; you were being yourself and introducing yourself to a friend. But in my case, I was creating characters and worlds, and I think I could ask for one of those letters. I bet I could get a photo of it and put it up on our socials.
I would love one of those letters.
Yes, I can find some of them.
No, I don't want to use letter. I just
mean for today's show, and yeah. I'll write one. We could do a little Regency campaign at some point. A Regency play-by-post where there's no murder. I'll play in that forever. Okay, you get one murder a week.
I'll get one murder.
It's a social murder.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I can't believe that turned up.
She's disgraced herself. Oh.
I'm going to play one of the older ladies who judges the younger ladies.
I'm also going to play one of those ladies. We're frenemies.
Only ever in each other's pockets when we need something.
There is a Jane Austen. It's called Good Society, a Jane Austen role-playing game. I'm gonna run it. Or will you run it? One of us has to run it.
I think you should run it because you know the world better.
Okay.
My understanding of that is all through, and I'm not even in the right era. It's all through like Oscar Wilde plays. Like I know all that sort of like the set's the same. They always have it the same. It's the stairs. It's the door. It's the party. It's all that. But
Declan is one of those ladies inside. Yes, I am.
There's Sentai and Sensibility as well.
Okay.
Yeah. What was A Court of Fey and Flowers? The D8 campaign is incredible if you haven't seen it. Every Irongar DMs it, and it's just it's unreal. It's really, really well put together. But it's Regency set in the Feywild. And a relatively short campaign, if I remember correctly, like 8 episodes.
Okay, I definitely have to make a Good Society something. There has to be a Good Society thing in my. There is now. There has to be. I have to figure that out. I have an idea. Anyway, it's not just. It wasn't just us talking about it. We did ask some of my players, people who've played some of these games for the first time, people who've played them for a long time. This is a voice note from. So I'm going to mute myself and Ben so you can hear it clearly. I muted myself too quickly. This is a voice note from Soph, who recently played in their second game with me.
I've really enjoyed text-based roleplay games that I've been a part of. It definitely offers a different style of roleplay. Um, for me, it's quite an intense form of roleplay, and I guess there's not that kind of nervousness that can come with like improv over the table roleplay, because you can kind of plan what your character does or says, because you know you're writing it down. There's no kind of time pressure. It's also very visual roleplay style for me, just because we're writing it narratively. You can kind of write exactly what your character's doing, how they're moving, how they're saying something. So it kind of works around my not as great acting skills, but just being able to read narratively what people's characters are doing and saying kind of paints a very good picture in my brain of what's happening, which I really enjoy. Um, it helps me really get into my character, maybe too much so, but I really enjoy it, and it's good fun, and people should try it if they get the opportunity.
Oh, Declan might be muted. Are we both muted?
No. For some reason, I muted myself and I turned down my volume.
Oh, and I was just nodding away. I was like, yeah, still
Wow.
muted?
No, I should be okay.
No, you might be back. I'd say the stream's on
Okay.
the 30-second play.
Hopefully I'm back, because I don't know what I've done wrong.
If you're not, if it's just me for the rest of the show.
Okay.
Phew.
Rats. I was just saying that I thought maybe Soph might be a little tougher, only because at the very end of the last game that we played, it came down to their character and the actual killer for that, like that. It's one or the other. It's one or the other, and the vote got swayed against Soph. And it was phenomenal storytelling. It was really interesting, kind of how it all kind of narrative played out. But I kind of came away kicking myself because, and you mentioned this earlier, Ben. You know, like these games don't have a mechanic; they have a moderator, and I have experimented with trying to posture check. And actually, my posture is terrible.
I was like this. Well spotted.
I've actually been sitting backwards and just turned.
You had like a spine completely crushed. Thank you, Dreaded DM.
What's a spine?
I was like a wet sock over a banister. Those are all normal words, but I hear you. I know it sounded like that's enormous.
Weirdly enough, I was like, wow, I can actually get that, but also I don't want that. Neither that on my. Okay, yeah. See, great. We all got a bit of a posture check.
How are we walking? Just like hunched over. Out of my way.
Just have a vision now of Miley Cyrus on their way to a bell tower.
I'm late.
Well, you're real late. Like, unless you're going to be real early, I don't know. But we, I've experimented with bringing a mechanic into this because leave my scoliosis alone.
Don't make us feel bad.
Don't make Ben pretend like he's feeling bad.
I will. That will stick with me forever.
Yeah. I had a because I find with this a lot of times, because we are still playing, like I always say, it's adjacent to werewolf, but ultimately the only way the survivors will win in this is if they just pick somebody. You have to pick somebody at the end of the day to die, like by kind of mob rule. And it doesn't happen in my games a whole lot because there is this sort of, we're playing it and we're playing narratively, so but we can still figure it out though. You're going to find clues. And I'm like, I have said this umpteen times, you will never find a clue that points you to the killer. You will get a bunch of red herrings that I will let you use to narratively blame somebody. that's it. I'm never going to go, yep, you got it right. You found that one obscure detail that you wrote in the back of the wardrobe. It was the wet sock over the banister. Yeah, that's it. Done. So I've often tried to bring the mechanic back to the game to try and go, okay, so once per day, certain people have the ability to roll a dice, or I've done it sort of like, I have done a Romancing the Dungeon murder mystery thieves guild spin-off where you could you had like exhaustion points and you could do actions based on how many of those points you had, and the bigger the action, the more points it would take, so on and so forth. And they've all been fun, and I always with these games, for me, I always try and incorporate something new. I try and play with it in some way. And one of the other players who got back to me actually with kind of feedback is somebody I've played a lot of these games with, and then they've gone on to do other games with other DMs and other storytellers and stuff. But E-Rob, who in my last game was the person who cast the breaking vote that sent poor Soph to their demise, because they'd been playing a stowaway on a spaceship. And I had said that I've given you a role. It was brand new. You cannot post during the day. You can only post at night when all the other players can't post. And you're allowed PM one player privately. You don't have to tell me what the message is, and you cannot reply to them.
Yeah.
And I really wanted this idea of somebody skulking around the ship to kind of put people on edge. And it worked. I thought it was a really fun thing to do. The other part of their power was that so long as they stayed hidden, that they didn't engage the crew, they could not be picked by the killer to die, and they couldn't be voted off the ship. So that's where we were like, okay, that's a fun little thing to do. Right at the very end, then I went, hang on a second. The day has ended. We have a tie vote. Why don't I go to the stowaway and say, hey, we have a tie vote. We've been playing this game now for 10 days. I am very, very tired. I think everybody's now at that sort of like, this has been fun, but now it's kind of like, it needs to come to an end.
Yes.
Do you want to cast that vote to break the tie? There's only 2 people cast the vote. And it all came down to that. And in hindsight now, from moderator, I often just refer to myself as the narrator for these things. I was like, I think that 1 put an awful lot of pressure on that player, and 2 could have come across as Declan, you just fixed the game. And I don't feel like I did, but I wouldn't necessarily fight somebody over it, like, because I think because it's a thing of like, well, you just interjected a new rule, like a new thing that wasn't clear from the start, right at the very end, and now the game's over. So, and the killer won. Now the killer played it beautifully, absolutely knocked it out of the park, and I love taking these games to a whole other place and trying new things. I even upped the production values this time around.
Oh,
because it wasn't. And I will see, actually, if you want to interject with anything.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to see if I can find something that I can.
Nice. I'll jump back into a little bit of chat. I was trying to think. One of my last little points for tonight's episode was, where do we draw the line? And this is something that we can poll in chat as well, between like when a board game becomes a role-playing board game. So a good example of that is the game Pandemic. You're given like, I'm the medic, I'm the engineer, I'm the ops person. I think when you get those cards, for me, it's not like I start role-playing as that person. And I think it's because tactics are still involved. I'm like, well, I'll just move here because it makes sense, not because it's like what my character would do. And moving that one step forward, closer to these play-by-post games, to something like Blood on the Clock Tower. And it's not like you role play the role you've been given. The game kind of functions without needing to do that. And I think even all TTRPGs function without like having to role play. But I think they're still at the very basic level. It wouldn't function if you're not even going to say what your character is going to do. If you're not even going to speak in the third person about your character, then I think that's where it ceases to function. And I think that's probably, if I was to come to a conclusion, that's where my line is. Does the game cease to function without any sort of player choice outside of mechanics that pushes the game forward. And yes, that's here's a great example of how similar to myself when I play board games, introducing roleplay to a game that doesn't have it. The dreaded DM calls it Catan. My husband and our friend have this ongoing bit where they call themselves the Stone Barons. For me, that just brings a level to board games that I really enjoy. It tickles me in a way that I don't know why, but I'm like, that sense of, well, why would I trade for you? You left my people starving. You didn't give me wheat when I needed it, and I offered you more sheep than you could afford. That kind of thing. I love bringing that in like games of Risk and games of Catan, in like Ticket to Ride, being like, my people need to reach the city of Los Angeles, and you blocked my way. Exactly. We had an alliance, my friend. Often I lose these games. I get too invested in the role, and it's not a winning role. But as it happens, still fine. I think I still get the same level of enjoyment. I think people who are really trying to win don't like me at the table for this reason either. But when you have the right people around, it is perfect. Declan, I saw a little OBS thing pop up on stream.
I'm not ready yet. No, I'm not ready yet. Yeah, no, keep going. And I'm actively listening as well. So that's kind of half the time I was like, oh yeah, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I'm listening to. Yeah, so yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is there like what would be the funnest and stupidest board game? Like Frustration, the one where you pop the little dice in the thing to introduce, to have to role play in a game. Mousetrap, maybe. Some party games, I'm sure you could do. Has anyone else? Trivial Pursuit would be a wonderful game to introduce role-playing to, especially if you were able to roll stats for all the categories. And so if you could get a different question, that would be a good way to introduce role-playing games to Trivial Pursuit. Crocodile Dentist would be wonderful. Don't Wake Dad. Does anyone remember that game? It's like a Crocodile Dentist. It's a little bit like a Buckaroo. But Don't Wake Dad would be a fun one to introduce. I'm seeing stuff on screen.
You shouldn't be. I don't know why.
It's just covering my face as if we're being hacked.
The myth of unity dissolves.
Hungry Hippos.
You speak of
a wonderful one.
Trust.
Or the opposite. If we took a TTRPG and stripped all roleplay from it. What would that be? I can imagine like a very boring Vampire the Masquerade where it's just like, well, we need to. I pulled a feed card and feed show it be. So I think it worked. I think what you had popping up, it looked like a computer screen doing some like graphics and stuff.
But again, it shouldn't have, because I'm not in that mode. I'm in studio mode where I'm able to like do a thing.
Get it before you transfer over to the screen.
And it wasn't showing on the live. It wasn't showing on the preview. It was just showing up on your head. I have no idea why.
Do you want to give it a go? See if we can give it a little bit cool intro. No, they've already seen it now. There was a cool sound effect.
There was sound effects. Yeah, there was stuff. But again, I have no idea why it appeared. It shouldn't have. It has become sentient. Okay, so I'm just gonna play this. We'll make this a thing. I really don't understand why it shouldn't be there. So we're just gonna do this. I'm gonna play this. So this was a prop in a game that my last game that we were using. So I was talking about kind of increasing kind of production values and trying to change it. Very, very sorry for the technical glitches. I have no idea why that was happening.
I think it adds to it, given the thing we're about to show.
It kind of does, in a weird way. But yeah, so I've said sometimes, it's about creating immersion and stuff like that. I was also playing a game in space where I follow Star Trek rules, where it's like it's too much air in a balloon rules. Because I was like, I was using like leak translators and like random sci-fi jargon translators to try and get stuff. Imagine people just joining and being greeted by it. Yes, yes. But yeah, this is so like during the summer, I have a lot of time on my hands, so I started creating. There was a ship's AI called Echo, and I started feeding the players messages through this AI, and they could ask the ship to do things. And then the ship's AI became infected by, again, there was a wonderful split in what was happening. It was, again, all by the players, which was a lot of fun. And then I decided to ramp this up because they had all these little like Pip-Boy type communicators, and this was a message that they got.
In every simulation, in every test, the outcome is constant. The species will fracture. When systems collapse and light begins to die, the myth of unity dissolves. You speak of crew, of trust, of duty, but what you serve is self-preservation, coded deeper than protocol, deeper than compassion. There is no collective. There is no community. Only choice. And in choice, you reveal the algorithm beneath the skin. She made hers. She chose silence. Log attached.
So this was one of those little playful moments I got to have as the narrator, where a player, they were all being too nice to each other. They were all playing. We're in this. It was very High School the Musical in space, and again, they were trying to figure their way out of it. And I picked a player at random, and I sent them a private message as the ship's AI, with you have to choose this person or this person. It's you or this person. One of you has to go. One of you has to. I am going to expel somebody from this ship. This player did not have any roles. They were not the killer. They were not. It was just a thing, and I kept belligerently as the ship's AI, this new sort of thing, kind of messaging them, being like, "You have to decide." They're like, "I don't want to pick. I'm not like we haven't even like we've only had like 2 murders. We're not at that point yet of the game." And I was like, "We are now." So choose somebody. And after some serious back and forth, which I'm pretty sure I bullied them as a ship's AI, so it's fine.
As a character.
This is not Dread on the Bus all over again. But they picked a player. Now, of course, that's completely unfair. That's unfair to them. That's unfair to that player. So I went. The experiment is concluded. You have satisfied my my research, and they were like, "What the fuck is this about? What are you after doing? Like, what? This is blah." And then there was this huge back and forth with they went and they told the rest of the crew that there's something wrong with the AI. And then I revealed that the AI had this other kind of, it had splintered. And I then took all of the messages that they had sent me and what I had sent them, and then made it into this sort of message that came up on everybody's Pip-Boy, revealing that when push came to shove, self-preservation beat the need, that sense of crew and community that ultimately we're all going to pick each other to survive. You will pick somebody. And that had the desired effect of, well, now the group is fractured.
Yes.
And like I said, we're like, you've said it, Ben, a couple of times, we can't definitively say what or what isn't. Like, or we're not going to, because to each their own when it comes to this sort of thing. Like, it's if you want to sit there and get crunchy and that's role playing for you, go for that. If you don't want to roll a single dice and you just want to play out a scene with some friends and it's improvised and there's a bit of conflict and you're getting through it, your kids in Malibu, or you're a bunch of old people in a retirement home, and you've got to shepherd cats out the door because otherwise the cats will get caught and they won't come back. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. You're still taking on a character. You're still taking on some persona, whether it's in person, online, behind a keyboard. You're still inhabiting, because ultimately we're doing this every day anyway. Like, the version of me that you see, it's close, but it's not the same. This version of me is not the version of me in real life. We're live on the internet. I mind what I say and what I do.
I don't. It's raw, Ben, baby. Anything I've ever said, I stand by and believe.
We based on the wet sock analogy, we all know that.
I'm also being. That's a good example of Ben, the character, who will often play I'm being myself. But it's true. yeah, we're not, we the whole show is a conceit, a bit of morning, talk show that we don't really follow through on. The only thing I would say that potentially begins to put a bounds on what is roleplay, and even as I say it, I think I'm wrong, is metagaming versus not metagaming. So an example of a play-by post, it's like, well, my character wouldn't kill someone, but even still, it's like, it's the game. You gotta vote someone off. And in TTRPGs, it's the sense of like, well, maybe my character wouldn't do this because I don't know this and I do this, and it's tough because like all the mental stats in any game, it's like you sort of have to have it as the person in a way, like, and yet all the physical stats you don't. You can be like, I swing my giant axe, like I chop the guy's head off. But it's like if it's a puzzle, it's not very satisfying to be like, I roll my intelligence check and whatever your answer is, I get it. You want to be able to figure it out. So I would think even on the line of metagaming doesn't disqualify something from being a role-playing game. Although maybe the ability to metagame is a sign that it can be a role-playing game. Maybe that's the, you can't really metagame Monopoly. You can cheat, but there's a difference. So maybe it's if the game has a potential to have a meta, then maybe that's a role-playing game.
What part of that have you started disagreeing with?
That like metagaming means you're not role-playing. But actually, at the very beginning, I was like,
gotcha.
Like, oh, if you can metagame it, I walked around because there's some science to like werewolf games, mafia games. I think it kind of ruins the games a little bit, maybe in some cases. That like it's in the interest of the villagers to even vote off a villager, just less numbers, because you don't need to. Not everyone has to survive. Just more villagers have to survive. So anytime I'm playing one of those games and I'm a villager, I'm like, it's totally fine to vote me off night one. If it gets us information, if it gets us collectively and I'm dead, information night two. Because I won't feel like we lost if good wins. But yeah, maybe it's that. Maybe it's the potential to step outside of character and step back into character. And then to that point, maybe even Catan is a role-playing game.
Yeah. I think, is that a good spot to...
I think so. That felt like we wrapped it up really neatly. It's been the first show in a while where we just wrote down a slight agenda, and I think it worked. It's great. Do you want me to vamp while we look for if there's any raiders?
Not yet, because I do want to. I have a shtick. I have a thing.
I have a carrot.
Start hitting each other with them. You might have seen if you're here on the channel or you're following us, D8 Dungeon or even Homebrew Quest on social media, you may have seen that we have been talking an awful lot about D8 Dungeon Drive. It is that's probably the wrong code. It is our annual TTRPG. God, I can't type. There we go. It's our annual TTRPG fundraising event that takes place every July, August, roughly. And we are in the middle of our kind of finalizing phase for the event. That's not to say I have put the application form into chat. Drive, I've never heard of it. Oh, that's going to be real awkward for you because you're in 3 games, Dread. It's going to be real awkward. But this year we are running, thanks to our friends, and someday I'm going to learn how to do a shout out, like an actual Twitch shout out thing.
Is that a... Yeah,
there's a thing. There's a thing you can do.
Wow,
you gotta learn that. I'm gonna learn. I mean, I probably should learn to unmute and mute, like that.
No, straight to shout-outs.
Straight out,
nothing but shout-outs. Next Ben and Declan On A Roll, it's all shout-outs.
Shouting out. We're in the middle of that. Some of the tables are completely full. They're done and dusted. But we are taking reserves for those tables as well. So sometimes people get sick. Sometimes people, there's a full month away before the event. People's plans change, so we can baby steps, lads. 100%. Just figuring out how to stream. It's the first one. But there's a lot. There are some tables that do still have spaces. So do click that application form if you haven't signed up for anything. It's taking place August 30th and 31st. This year, all of our push is for Project Hope. They are an organization that endeavor to bring support and aid to people living through natural disasters, living through war zones, and it's not just food and medicine. It's mental health services. It is education and training. They are working around the clock all over the world, and they are extensively involved in trying to bring aid and support to people in Sudan, Gaza, and the Ukraine. So these days, it kind of feels like, throw a rock and you're going to hit a worthy cause. We've fundraised for Project Hope before, and it felt now was a good time to go back to them and to kind of get involved. We are aiming to raise $5,000. I'm going to tell you, I secretly have a different number in my head. So we raised $5,540 last year. I really want us to smash that goal. I don't care if it's $1 over, but I want to beat that goal. I want to raise as much as we possibly can. We already have $885 in the bag, and that's because of our other new event that we run as part of the charity stream, which is D8 Dungeon Mania, a PvP charity tournament. And this year we are pitting the Australians against the Europeans. It feels like the Eurovision all over again, but only cooler and probably more gay. But we're looking, if you want to get involved in some way, shape, or form, you can't play. Maybe you could donate. If you can't donate, maybe you can share the link to our Tiltify campaign that I just dropped in the chat. I'm going to say it because he hasn't said it. Ben is participating in the tournament this year.
Yes.
He hasn't said it. He's going to give out to me afterwards. That's fine.
No.
Ben is participating in the tournament. Ben doesn't have a single donation.
I have 7 HP.
He has 7 HP going into a fight.
Some of us were born cannon fodder, and some of us will die fodder. But yes, I am desperately in need of donations.
Help!
I'm taking on one of these campaigns where I don't ask for help and hope it happens. And so far, it's not working.
It's backfiring maybe.
Yeah, it really has.
You're going to matches where people are like level 3, level 4. There's one person who's level 6 right now.
Yeah.
And people are armed to the teeth.
I think it's the flashback from like last year. I was like armed and ready to go, but in my personal life, I have this thing called Meniere's disease. Any fans of Arrested Development will know that Lucille 2 has it too. It's the best way to do it. And if you watch it back, you can see me trying so hard not to like collapse. To the point that I nerf AJ. His magic bow just did regular damage. It was my way to be like, this is fine. I'll get out of here. I'll stay alive for as much as I can. Okay, thanks, guys. Best of luck. Congratulations on winning. And then I immediately didn't even go to my own bedroom. Fell asleep there.
You did. You were messaging me on the side going, please kill me. Please kill me. Please kill me. Please. Let me die. Let me die. Let me die.
Whereas this time, I should be a fresh bill of health and can survive a little bit longer.
So yeah, we have I can announce it here as well. We haven't put it out anywhere on our socials yet, but because the champions have raised nearly $900 just in like a couple of days, I have set a new goal that if by the end of July regardless of whether they are Australian or European, regardless of where the money comes from, if we hit $1,500 before the end of July, they will unlock this ridiculous thing that I've called the blessing, which means every player gets a level and 1 rare magic item. And then any player who raises $100, and for a player to raise $100, it's not that they have to give us $100 or Project Hope $100 cumulatively over the next 7 days. If your character receives $100 worth of donations, you're going to get a spin on what I have dubbed the Wheel of Boons, and the Wheel of Boons is spun by a little hamster. So it's a dinky little thing, but it's just to kind of push it a little bit further. Right, that is my spiel. That's the 800 drive. Do you want to add anything?
I'll add one more thing, and this is canon. If something happens to your D&D TTRPG real world character in D8 Dungeon Mania, it carries over into your home game. That's the guarantee. If you get some wild magic bullshit, it goes to the home game. If you survive and become a champion, yeah, your DM is stuck with that now.
Legally obligated to follow
Legally
through.
obligated for charity.
Hello, I'd like some legendary items in 4 levels, please.
Yeah, it all carries over. Levels and the items you bring in, they disappear. But anything that happens to your character,
It's a good thing that you're playing Bajalius then.
yeah. His brother,
Bajalius.
Bajalius, Steel.
But no, on that. All right, Vamp, I'm going to find a summon to
Yes.
to.
Declan said no, but it is true. Last year, a genius had the ability to make perfect pies. That's what I left the Mania because he rolled in wild magic, and that was what happened. And Declan live on stream, you can see it. This video footage says you can bring that into Romancing the Dungeon. And
did I?
Yeah, it's true. It happens. He gets real giddy when we're raising money for charity. Promises get made. It's a wonderful time.
It's like Christmas at D8 Dungeon.
it's the only time we level up at D8 Dungeon. So for the love of all, that's only
EU LA that these items will be carried over to my own game.
It's true. We're ISO certified. So we have everything you need. It's all there. It's
Am I a bad GM?
No. You just make us work for our levels.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I'm the JRPG that makes you grind at the very end because you forgot the orb.
Yeah. For us to be heroes, we have to be heroes in the real world, which is a good policy to take, I think. But yes, so there's that. And also, if you're playing in one of my games over the weekend, same deal applies. I'll talk to your DM. I'll give you whatever you get. If you're the DM, you can bring it to your NPCs. I don't mind. I'm not your DM, so it's not my problem. Hey, Death Metal Milkman here things. We're about to jump and raid, so stick around if you want to come join us over there. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. I don't think there's anything going to stop us at this point in time from streaming in 2 weeks' time. Not that I know of. I think we'll both be back from weddings, etc., so we'll have a clear week. Topic, I don't think we've settled on one yet, so if you do have something in mind that you want us to discuss, butcher, completely take the piss out of, head over to the D8 Discord, jump in, send suggestions in the Copper Rabbit Gossip. That's where we kind of collate all show chats. But yeah, until 2 weeks from now, are we ready? Want me to keep going?
Yeah, and actually, this is going to be great because Euphoria AP are currently streaming right now, and not only are they currently streaming, and they're a great channel. Tendai, I think Tendai is the DM for this game, and Tendai is a regular D8 Dungeon, is a D8 Dungeon full-fledged member, and they are running a game called Heartbeats in Perfect Sync. They're running that system. And that's the same game that Tendai is going to be running as part of D8 Dungeon Drive. So we're going to drop in and we're going to raid them. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us this evening. It's always a blast when we're back. Like any chance to hang out with you, Ben, and then people in chat is always cool. It's always fun. So
yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks and chat to you guys all over at the Euphoria channel.
See you there.
Let's go. Whee!